morning, everyone. I would like to start with a very simple question. How many of you all have ever felt nervous before receiving your exam results? Maybe your heart started beating a little faster. Maybe you kept refreshing a website. Or maybe you were worried about what your parents, teachers, or friends might think. Now imagine being told that your intelligence, your future, and your potential can all be summarized by a single number on a report card. Not your kindness, not your creativity, not your character, just a number. For millions of students around the world, that number feels like a judgment of who they are. And that is exactly the problem. Because somewhere along the way, we stopped asking whether education is helping children live better lives and started asking only if they can score better marks. And today I want to challenge that idea because I believe that we are preparing children for exams, but not for life. Think about it. A child spends nearly 15 years in school. Thousands of hours learning formulas, definitions, dates, and theories. Yet so many students graduate without ever learning how to manage money, how to communicate confidently, how to handle rejection, how to solve real-world problems, and perhaps most importantly, how to deal with failure. Because life doesn't come with multiple choice questions. Life doesn't ask you, how many sides does a triangle have? Life asks, what will you do when your first business fails? How will you react when someone says no? How will you support your family during difficult times? And what will you do when your dreams don't go according to the plan? And for these questions, there is no answer key. The World Economic Forum lists creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration among the most important skills for the future. Yet these are often the skills that receive the least attention in traditional classrooms. We teach students how to calculate compound interest, but not how to manage a bank account. We teach students how to write essays on leadership, but not how to lead. We teach students how to memorize information, but not how to think independently. And then we wonder why so many young people feel lost the moment they enter the real world. But there is another consequence about which we don't talk about. When children begin to believe that their marks define their value, something dangerous happens. A bad grade stops being just a bad grade. It becomes in their minds a proof that they are not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough. Many children don't just give up on an exam, they give up on themselves. They stop asking questions, they stop taking chances, they stop believing in their own abilities. And sometimes they even give up on their dreams. I have seen students who were incredible artists, but they stopped drawing only because they were told that it wouldn't improve their grades. I have seen students with brilliant ideas remain silent because they were afraid of giving the wrong answer. And sadly, every year we hear stories of young people facing overwhelming pressure because they are made to believe that a single result can determine their entire life. But no examination is worth more than a human life. No mark sheet can predict the impact that someone might have on the world. Let me ask you another question. How many of you remember the marks that you scored on a test 5 years ago? Probably very few. But I bet you remember a teacher who believed in you, a mistake that taught you something valuable, a failure that made you stronger, a person who stood by you even when things were difficult. Because experiences shape your character far more than report cards ever will. The truth is simple. Marks can open a door, but your character determines how far you go once you enter. The real tragedy is that when a child scores 95%, we celebrate. But when a child shows courage after failure, we barely notice. When a child wins a competition, we applaud. But when a child shows kindness or leadership, we rarely put that on a report card. Some of the most important lessons in life are often the ones that never appear in an exam. So, what should education really look like? Imagine schools where students learn how to speak confidently, manage money, understand emotions, and solve real-world problems. Imagine if success was measured not only by marks, but by character. Not only by grades, but by growth. Not only by intelligence, but by impact. Parents, teachers, schools, policymakers, and students themselves. Let us stop asking only, how many marks did you score? And start asking, what did you learn? What values did you practice? And most importantly, who are you becoming? Because the purpose of education is not just to fill our minds with information. It is to prepare human beings for life. Today, I want to leave you all with a challenge. If you are a parent, praise your child's efforts as much as their results. If you are a teacher, spend a few minutes teaching a life skill alongside every lesson. If you are a school leader, create opportunities for the youth to develop confidence, leadership, and character. And if you are a student, remember this. Your potential is far beyond your marks, and you are more than just a rank, and you are more than just a percentage. Let us build schools that prepare children not just for the next exam, but for the next opportunity, the next challenge, and the next chapter of life. Because one day every exam will end. The ranks will disappear, the percentages will be forgotten. But life will continue asking you questions. Questions about courage, about leadership, about purpose. And when that day comes, the students who thrive wouldn't necessarily be the ones who memorized the most answers. They will be the ones who learned how to think, grow, and adapt. If we prepare children for exams, they may pass a test, but if we prepare them for life, they may change the world. Thank you.